Hi, this is Melech of Biblical Life Coaching, and this is actually my first Biblical Life Coaching video of the new service, Biblical Life Coaching, that I've started recently. You can visit us on the web at www.biblicallifecoaching.com, and I'll post all the links below. So what I'd like to talk about today is something that's very practical. I want the first video to be not something theoretical that's up in the air. I want it to be very practical. And the practical situation that I want to talk about is insomnia. Okay, I, over the years, have suffered from insomnia, I guess, kind of on a regular basis. It kind of comes and goes. And so I've done a lot of work and a lot of research to try to figure out how to deal with insomnia and how to, if not eliminate it, then at least reduce it as much as possible, because it's not always something that can be eliminated. And I think that's one of the first things we have to realize. We can't always eliminate all of our problems from life. Sometimes we have to be realistic and try to reduce them, try to bring them under control rather than completely eliminate them. By the way, I should say that this video is coming to you from Marrakesh, Morocco. We're spending some time in Morocco, and so I thought I'd just show you some the place that we're staying. It's a riad, which is a traditional Moroccan guest house, and I'll move around a little bit because it's boring just to stay in the same place, and so you can see it. Cameraman, follow me. So let's talk about insomnia. Okay, I've come up with an acronym, which is my own, and then I'll talk about two other acronyms, or actually sequences of numbers, which are not my own. So credit where credit is due. Well, let's start with the acronym, okay? The acronym that I've come up with to deal with insomnia is called R.E.S.T, R-E-S-T, okay? And R stands for routine, E stands for emotions, S stands for sunset, and T stands for what to do when you're thirsty. T stands for thirsty, okay? And let's talk about all of those in order, okay? The first one is R, which is routine. The first thing to keep in mind when you have insomnia is to stick to a routine. You must stick to a routine. The worst thing you can do when you have bouts of insomnia, okay, is if you haven't slept all night, then just sleep in all day long, okay? It will just perpetuate itself, okay? If you have not slept, then at a certain time, whatever your usual routine is, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, get up and go about your daily routine, go about your daily tasks. You're not going to be able to do them as well as you could if you had slept a good night, sleep, but you do them as best you can. It's very important to keep the rhythm of your biological clock ticking at a regular basis, because if you don't, then you're going to throw it off even more. So if you're used to getting up at 8, get up at 8, go about your daily tasks, have breakfast, go to work, take the subway, whatever it is, get your kids ready for school, whatever the case may be. Come home, make dinner, eat dinner. Whatever you can do it the best you can. And then that night, go to sleep at the regular time that you usually go to sleep at. So the first thing is routine. Keep your regular routine. Keep a regular waking schedule. Keep a regular sleeping schedule. Don't let your insomnia throw you off even more, because once you get your biological clock even more out of whack, then you're going to have more problems with insomnia. So keep a regular routine. R, routine. The next one is E, stands for emotions, okay? What do I mean by emotions? I noticed that myself and other people I've been around, that when you lack sleep, you become very, very emotional. And two things I've noticed very specifically is you become easily frustrated, and you become easily fatigued, and even more so, I call it loss of hope. Okay, everything seems like despair. So you become frustrated and full of despair. Okay, let's see if I can give a practical example. You could just be sitting there and you're having trouble, I don't know, getting some work done. For me, I used to do computer programming, so I'd maybe have problems getting a certain problem done on the computer programming, and all of a sudden this sense of frustration sets in very quickly and very easily, and that also could set in kind of general sense of despair, like I don't have to explain what despair is, like this overall sense of overwhelming despair. What is life worth, and what am I doing here, and why is my life so bad, and everything sucks, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So the trick with the E part, the emotions part is, and let me move around a little bit, cameraman. The trick with the emotions part is to realize in advance, okay, or while it's happening, that your emotions are going to be exaggerated when you have a lack of sleep, when you're going through bouts of insomnia, okay? Expect it, get ready for it, prepare for it, and don't take it too seriously, okay? So if you're all of a sudden, trying to do something and you feel very frustrated, then don't worry about it. Don't think twice about it. Say, oh, I know why this is. This is not my regular thought pattern. Has to do with the insomnia. Or if you're sitting there and all of a sudden this darkness of despair comes down. Woe is me, and what is my life, and why am I here? And in certain cases, with certain people, it can even lead to suicidal thoughts, God forbid. You have to realize at that point that this is because of the insomnia. The insomnia is exaggerating your emotions. It's exaggerating your frustration, and it's exaggerating your despair. It's very hard to realize that when you're in the middle of a bout of insomnia. It's hard to realize that because your emotions take over, your despair takes over, your frustration takes over. But you have to say, stop, okay? I know where this is coming from. This is coming from my insomnia. And you realize that when you finally do get a good night's sleep, whenever that is, hopefully soon, that it just goes away. I'm not so frustrated. I don't feel such a sense of despair. Okay? So that's number 2, emotions. Number 3 is a very important one. The S in R.E.S.T. So far we have R, stands for routine. E stands for exaggerated emotions or emotions. S stands for sunset. Okay? The next thing to realize is, cameraman? The next thing to realize is that you're going to get a respite from whatever you're feeling from your insomnia when the sun sets. I always say that when the sun sets, you will regulate yourself out, or I will regulate myself out. Once the sun sets, we whether we realize it or not, our body naturally starts, getting ready for night, and naturally starts getting tired. So when the sun sets, anything that happens, when the sun sets, anything that happens, here, let's go over here. When the sun sets, you're going to start realizing that things are going to regulate out. All the effects that you had from the insomnia during the day, you're going to feel less after the sun sets. So just wait for sunset and realize that after the sun sets, since you're naturally tired anyway, even if you had the last night you didn't sleep well, you're going to start feeling back to normal once the sun sets and once you move towards sleep. Okay, so wait for the sunset and realize that at that point you may feel more tired than normal, but you're not going to feel that much more tired than normal because you feel tired anyway once the sun sets. So that's the S, sunset. Wait for sunset, and things will regulate themselves out. The last thing is T. Okay, T stands for thirsty. Okay, well, I really wanted to use W for water, but our R.E.S.T doesn't sound as good as R.E.S.T, and it's not as easy to remember as an acronym. So let's go with T. T stands for thirsty. It's very important. Okay, extremely important, okay? When you're suffering from insomnia, do not drink when you're thirsty. Do not drink coffee, Coca-Cola, tea, other caffeinated drinks. Just drink water, lots of water, and you can also drink fresh fruit juices, preferably freshly squeezed fruit juices, okay? But it's very important what you drink. Caffeine, coffee, tea, Coca-Cola, they're going to throw you off even more. Your biological system, your biological clock is already out of whack. If you start drinking Coca-Cola or coffee or tea, it's going to throw it out of whack even more, and that's the last thing you want to do. If you drink water, and lots of water, I mean deliberately lots of water, like more than you usually drink. I don't want to give an exact amount because everyone drinks a different amount, but you should be slugging down, you should be chugging down as much water throughout the day and the evening as you can. And you're going to see that creates a very kind of soothing effect, a calming effect, and it kind of keeps the blood circulating, the fluid circulating, which makes you reduce the effects of the insomnia. Imagine if you had insomnia and you were tired and you were frustrated and you felt horrible during the day, felt despair during the day, and on top of that you were dehydrated. You know how bad you feel when you're dehydrated. Imagine dehydration on top of insomnia. So drink water, drink lots of water, and just keep on drinking water or freshly squeezed fruit juices. So that's the T part, thirsty, okay, of the R.E.S.T. So once again, to summarize, R stands for routine, stick to your routine. E stands for emotions. Your emotions, particularly frustration, and despair are going to be exaggerated. Prepare for that, ignore that, recognize that, spot that, and realize that that's happening not because of true situation in your life, but it's being exaggerated because of the insomnia. S, sunset. Wait for the sunset. Once the sun sets, your body's going to regulate itself out. Your emotions are going to regulate themselves out. And T, when you're thirsty, drink water or fresh fruit juices. No coffee, no tea, no Coca-Cola. Okay? All right, that's the end of rest. Now let's talk about techniques for getting out of insomnia. Techniques for getting away from insomnia. Come, I'll sit down here. Whoa. And the first thing here, come a little bit closer. You can kind of kneel down, I guess. Why don't you kneel down on one knee? All right, that's good. So the first thing to keep in mind, okay, is a technique, and I'll post a link to it. This is not my own technique. I found it on the internet, and I just found that it helps a lot, okay? It's called the 10-3-2-1 technique. You can Google it, and there are many articles on it, okay? I'll post a link to one of the articles on this, okay? The 10-3-2-1 technique means the following. It talks about how many hours before you go to sleep. All right, so let's say your bedtime is 11 o'clock. 10 hours before bedtime, okay? Starting 10 hours before bedtime, so 11 minus 10, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, no more caffeine, no tea, no coffee, no Coca-Cola, okay? The 10 hours before you go to bed, you're not allowed to have any new caffeine in your system, okay? That's the 10. 3 hours before you go to sleep. So again, we're using 11 o'clock as our reference point. Past 8 o'clock, no eating and no drinking alcohol. No wine, no beer, no hard liquor, and no eating. Your system needs to empty itself out because otherwise you've gone to bed on a full stomach or just after you've ate and drank and you're tossing and turning, you feel bloated. Your system needs to empty itself out so they can focus on the job of sleeping rather than on the job of digesting your food and your alcohol. So 3 hours before bedtime, no food and no alcoholic beverages. Okay. Next is 2. 2 hours before bedtime, you stop doing and thinking about work completely. 2 hours before bedtime, those 2 hours until you go to bed are your time to spend time with your family, maybe to read a book, to relax, to do whatever it is that you like to do to put yourself in a state of getting ready for sleep. No work, no thinking about work, no doing work, okay? That's very important, especially in our modern Western society. So that's 2 hours. 1 hour before bed, I know this is going to be a hard one, especially for the younger generation. 1 hour before bed, no screens, no phones, no television, no iPads, no iPods, no this, no that, no the other, nothing. All screens off, okay? The screens, the radiation from the screens cause you to stay awake, okay? And you have to stop the screens 1 hour before bed, okay? And that's it, okay? Let's go over it again. It's called the 10-3-2-1 technique. Sometimes when you look it up, it'll be the 10-3-2-1-0 technique. You can look that up on your own. I don't go for the 0 part because I'm talking about before we go to bed, but you can look it up and you'll see what that means. At any rate, 10 hours before bedtime, no more caffeine. 3 hours before bedtime, no more eating, no more drinking alcohol. 2 hours before bedtime, no more doing or thinking about work at all. 1 hour before bedtime, screens off. Okay, get ready for bed. Do something relaxing. Meditate, put on a nice candle, put on incense or whatever it might be. You know, just lie down in bed and think. Talk to somebody in your family, etc. So that's it. That's a 10-3-2-1 technique. And the last technique that I want to talk about, which helps me get to sleep, and it really does help. I mean, I've heard people say it's a cure-all. I don't think it's a cure-all. I don't think it's a panacea. What? Problem? Okay. And it's called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Okay, the 4-7-8 breathing technique means you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and then breathe out for 8 seconds. Again, you can look this up on the internet. I think Dr. Phil, who I've not watched very much in my life, but I think he's a big proponent of it. You can look it up, the 4-7-8 breathing technique. I've used it sometimes when I'm lying in bed at night, when my thoughts are racing, when my heart is racing, when my breathing is racing, and it really does, if you stick to it, it really does calm you down. For me, it takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes of consistently breathing in the 4-7-8 technique, but I have noticed that after those 5 or 10 minutes, I am significantly more calmed down and ready to go to sleep. Some people will take that just one cycle of that and already fall right asleep. I think that's a bit exaggerated. Maybe for some people that's the case. That's never been the case for me. But what you do want to do is you want to slow down your breathing. You want to slow everything down, because what's happening is you're lying in bed, your thoughts are racing, your heart is racing, your breathing is racing, and you just can't get to sleep in a state like that. So the first thing to do is slow your breathing down. By deliberately slowing your breathing down, by taking deep breaths and holding them, you're going to slow your heart rate down. When you slow your breathing and your heart rate down, your mind is going to settle itself down, and you're going to find that you're much better able to drift off to sleep. Okay, so that's the 4-7-8 technique. Again, not my own, but highly recommended. Okay, so let's summarize. We spoke about 3 techniques. R.E.S.T technique. Okay, R.E.S.T stands for routine, exaggerated emotions, sunset, and when you're thirsty, drinking water. Okay. Then we spoke about the 10-3-2-1 technique. 10 hours before bedtime, no more caffeine. 3 hours before bedtime, no more no more food, and no more alcoholic beverages. 2 hours before bedtime, no more thinking or doing work. Thinking about or doing work. 1 hour before bedtime, no more screens. Okay? And then thirdly, we spoke about the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7 seconds, and then breathing out for 8 seconds. Let me just demonstrate that. And then again, okay? That's the 4-7-8 breathing technique. With those 3 things, if you implement those 3 things, I guarantee you the situation will be better. It doesn't mean your insomnia will be cured immediately, and it doesn't mean that your insomnia will be cured permanently, but it will set you up for a situation where you're going to be having much better night's sleep, where you're going to be having consistently better night's sleep, and hopefully you'll be able to work your way out of this plague that so many people, especially in the modern age, suffer from, which is lack of proper sleep, which is insomnia. So, this is Melech Ben Yaakov of Biblical Life Coaching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment and share. I will post all the links that I mentioned below. And please visit our Facebook page, and please visit our website, which is www.biblicallifecoaching.com. Once again, this is Melech Ben Yaakov saying Shalom from Marrakesh, Morocco.